the Mediterranean area, say Greece or whatever, there's no dice cups. And there's only one set of dice.
Roll them out of their hands, right?
And they just, it's wooden, so there's the sound of the ivory dice hitting the wood. Whereas here you hear this clink, 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 clink.
Yeah.
But there,
sound. It's sharper.
It's a much sharper and rattling around and stuff.
And I mean, sheshbesh is what they call it, right?
Sheshbesh
what does that mean?
That's
literally?
Arabic for 6-5.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Now, have you ever seen somebody able to manipulate dice with their hands? I mean, if you rolled it with your hands? Yeah,
no.
Me either. But there are precision dice, though, right? And you could have weighted dice. People might try to cheat with the weighted die.
They might cheat with special dice.
So these dice are clear, if I may. So you can kind of see if there's any weights in there.
But
isn't that why they make clear
in terms
dice?
of backgammon, although eventually it turns into a race, so if you had dice that are weighted to have the higher numbers, that would be an advantage. But there are strategies that we'll talk about later where rolling big numbers is bad.
Yeah.
And you want to roll small numbers. So if I knew that somebody had weighted dice, I'd beat them every game.
You just set them up to make the big numbers bad?
That's right. And so it's a real, because the game is very random, you have to be able to go with the flow and sort of, so if he and I were fencing.
But he's going to switch out his weighted dice when he needs another roll, dude.
Well, so if he and I were fencing.
Yeah.
Okay. And so he had a particular style or strength in terms of fencing. I would wait and kind of parry with him until I found out his weakness, and then I'd go for the kill shot. Same thing in backgammon. When you start playing with somebody, you play in a particular way to kind of uncover what situations they might not play as well as you think they should play, and then you try and steer the games in that direction.
Interesting.
That's where the skill comes in, or some of the skill comes in.
All right. Well, yeah, let's just kind of play this out, and I'll look at my notes here again. Dice manipulation. I think you were telling me, Ray, once. Yeah, we'll skip over that. So here's another note I have. 2 dice make numbers from 2 to 36. And so you're often calculating the odds of something to happen, right? You're like to roll. What happened there?
Okay, so in the game, we'll come back to this position. When you're playing the game, you play it either for fun, to see, oh, let's see who wins, or you play it for money, like we're doing, or you play it in terms of a tournament where you try and get the most to, the first person to get to a certain match score. We're playing a money game here, and so that involves this funny-looking thing called the doubling cube.
Okay.
And every game starts with a value of 1. And at any point before it's your roll, if you think you're ahead, you can choose to offer your opponent to double the stakes. And you do that by picking up this cube, which doesn't matter if it's over here, the number doesn't matter, and turn it to the number 2 and slide it to him. And sometimes you say, I double.
So
and so you're saying, I think this game is so good, I want to play for twice whatever we're playing for.
Right.
And then he's got the choice of either saying, I would like to play for double the stakes.
There are actually 3 choices, right?
Yes. And Mark will explain the rest.
Oh,
yeah, go ahead.
Well, I could have done one of 3 things. I could have accepted to play for twice the stakes.
And I continue to roll, and we play for twice.
I could have dropped the cube and just said, I'll pay you a point just to get out of this game.
1 point, I don't want to play for 2, I'll just pay you 1, and
you win. The game is over.
The third choice in a money game is to be able to, what's called beaver, and saying, that was a terrible cube. As a matter of fact, I think I'm ahead. And I choose to redouble you right now.
Okay.
Immediately. Now that creates another choice for my opponent, and he can do. He can respin it.
I can say, all right, let's play for 4. Or I can say, no, I think my original double was a good double, and now I choose to double it again. So now we're up to 8.
Or you can do 3 things. You can say, no, just
and I can say no, or I can say I give up at 4.
Technically, you could drop. I mean,
yeah, that's dropping. So I have 3 things. Every time there's 3 choices. You can choose to ratchet up 1 more time. You can stop the game and give up whatever the value of the cube was before it was turned, or you can accept the stake at the new
So basically,
value.
and then into shorthand, there's just a take or a drop. I mean, you offer a double, and because we talk about doubling, and in the other videos they talk, about you get doubled, and do they drop it or not?
Yep.
is it a take or is it a drop? But when
Well,
you're calculating things, right? You're trying to calculate whether
we're playing a money game, and that's different than tournament play. Tournament play, there's no beavering or raccooning.
Oh, there isn't.
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
So,
even though you
But
beavered in
you could
one of
just
your
do it the
tournament
next
games.
turn. I mean, after another roll of the dice,
Yeah,
you
you
could
could-
then turn.
even
it
though
again.
you settled in your novice tournament,
Even though
settled
you
with your
beavered in
opponent.
it.
I so should have just played that. It was like an 8 cube, but he freaked out.
All right.
Well, so anyway, I dropped this position. Most people
How'd
analyzing
you get to
this
7?
because I was at 7 because I was at 5 and I won 2 to get to 7.
You guys want
so
me to
now
keep score?
I'm at 6.
Okay. No, we'll keep score this way. This is
All right.
part of the.
These guys are keeping score. They played a game before we got the cameras rolling, and Mark's up, what, 7?
6 points.
So you're plus
He
6.
was up 7, and he just gave up for 1.
So now he's plus 6 on the leaderboard, right?
Yeah.
And you're playing for what, 2s or 5s?
10s.
10s. Is that just for the podcast, the video thing? You're playing for high stakes?
Now here we had a game that started off with both of us rolling the same die. Now what happens here is, depending on the mood and the agreement, we would start with a cube at 2
Okay.
or
Called
not.
an auto.
And so I don't know. I don't have a particular desire to play for double the stake at this point. Do you?
All right.
If we do it twice in a row, though, then it's mandatory.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
Are the backgammon gods trying to tell you that you should
Yeah,
play
the,
this
the,
one?
the
exactly
gods are
right.
trying to tell you to play for double the stakes.
Well, you guys,
So now here we had a case where Mark rolled doubles.
okay, yeah, let's talk about blots, hitting and recycling. Hitting, killing, and recycling, reincarnating
Well,
your
but
men.
just the part about doubles we haven't
All right.
talked about.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about doubles then.
Go ahead.
So,
well,
anytime you roll a double,
anytime you roll a double or both dice are the same number, you get to move 4 moves of that same number.
So
I
instead of-
I could just go 1, 2. I use 2 of them. 3, 4 if I wanted to.
okay, or you could move 4 checkers,
I
right?
could move 4 different checkers, but I chose to move them kind of in tandem.
Okay, so there's 1, 2,
here and,
3,
and
4.
create a little 3' here with the potential of a 4'.
So you got 4 moves of 1 instead of just 2 moves. Doubles, you get twice.
it's
All
like
right.
1.
So doubles are nice in that way, and it really made a nice little
2, 3,
strategic
4.
move for you, right?
It was
He was
good.
lucky.
It
What
was
are the odds of rolling a double on any particular roll?
16.6%.
How do you figure
1
that
out
out?
of 6.
So
1 out of 6. 16.66.
So there's 36 different possibilities that 2 dice can be. You know, with 6
Well,
different.
wait. Yeah. So if you
I just
write the
wanna get-
numbers 1 through 6 down on the side of a piece of paper, and the numbers 1 through 6. So you got a blue die and a white die, right? And all the white dies are here in a blue
Yeah, you make a
dies are-
6x6 grid.
Yeah. So you get 6 times 6 is 36 possible combinations.
All right.
But only one of those combinations has the number 1, 1 in it.
Yeah.
So that's the odds
One-
of rolling a 1, 1 is 1 out of 36.
Okay.
The odds of rolling any individual double is 1 out of 36. The odds of rolling any particular double are 6 of those,
Okay.
so it's 6 out of 36.
So there's a difference between rolling a particular double, like rolling double 2s is 1 in 36. Rolling any double, 6 out of 36. 6 out of 36 is 16.666%, right? And that's where you get that from. And I know when you're doing these things, you're often calculating percentages of, like the percentage of a take or a drop.
Not really.
No. Well, how much?
Yes.
We just sit around and drink beer. I mean, in matches, yeah, you try to. I mean, there's a thing in tournament play called match equity, and you're trying to calculate. I mean,
We'll get to that later.
yeah.
All right, so in terms of a take or a drop, though, so we got.
Can I explain this one? Because this was an interesting revelation to
Okay.
me. We're gonna. It might be a good time for a break. Benji's signaling me we need to dump an SD card to the computer. But I want to talk about, what was it again? The double.
Doubling and
Oh,
take
and
drop
the
points.
Oh,
take-
taking,
take
yeah, and how
point.
it's kind of counterintuitive that even if you're behind, I mean, if you offer a double,
I thought you were going to discuss this after we change the SD
I
card.
must probably have another minute at least. But when you offer, we'll do the explanation later. When you have a double, and you think your head, why would anybody ever take that? Why? Why would you take a cube if you have 50% chance or less than winning?
Yeah.
There's
well,
a reason, though. There's a
stakes
reason,
are
right?
double.
There's a reason after the commercial.
After the break. All right, good place to break. Thanks, guys. Let's set up a